All right, so today we're going to use AI to make your resume and make it better. But within your resume, you have to start with information about yourself. So I prefer to start with a document where you're just dumping the information. I have a template for you to follow, but it includes important stuff like what you're aspiring to be or do, your experience and whatnot. Then you feed this into the AI bots. So let's switch over to ChatGPT. I like it because you can do two ways here. You can put it into the custom information, which I like to do, dump information about myself into there, or you can tell it at any prompt for any AI, let it know who you are. And all you do is say, make me a resume, because it knows all this information about me. And here it goes. It knows about my aspirations in financial advising field. You can always change these things, but it's going to do its first pass here. So there it's finished with putting the information about you. Next up, we want to get these in the right sections that you want. So for example, I'm going to combine here certifications, activities, and interests. Maybe I'll combine skills, or maybe I'll combine skills and certifications. And then I'm actually going to remove this objective because it feels duplicative to me. Let's start by doing that. So I'll ask it to do that. Certainly, here you go. By doing those things. Great. It merged these here. It removed that section for me. Awesome. Now I'm looking at it and I'm going, this may not quite fill up a full page. So maybe I need to talk a little bit more about these jobs and things that I did. So I'm going to ask it to add some more bullet points into these job descriptions. Certainly. Here's some enhancement of the job descriptions. Now, what you want to notice here is it's going to start lying to you more and more because it's trying to fill up the space. So you're going to have to know that's going to make up stuff that's probably not true. Oversees inventory management, reducing waste, implement promotional campaigns, contributing to a 10% increase in store sales. Now this right here is just a blatant lie. I did not tell it this. It's not true. So you got to remember, it's giving you suggestions of things that you can say in a manner and a way to say them that an employer might like to hear. But if they're not true, they're not true. But were you involved in promotional campaigns? If not, you're not going to use this. You're going to remove that. But they're demonstrating you the activity and the result from that activity that an employer might want to hear. Now you can ask it to remove those things. You can leave them there, remove them later in the next process. But what I want to do now is actually want to try to tailor this, make sure it's being tailored for the job or the field that I want. So you can do one of two things. You can paste in here a job description of something you're looking for, an internship description, or you can give it a generic job general area and it will go from there. So I'm going to say tailor it for an internship at a financial advising firm. Again, if you know that job, you'd want to throw it in here with all of their requirements and descriptions. So it tells you what it's doing. It's going to emphasize relevant education projects related to finance and analysis. It demonstrates this. So now it's added back an objective, right? You're going to play back and forth. So I may have to ask it to remove my objective again or just ignore it because I can just not include that. But you can see it's really pulling out here relevant coursework. And when it talks about transactions, now it's mentioning budgeting. So your push and pull is this a lie? Or is this true? We're removing lies, but it's telling you that, man, if you could talk about budgeting, that's related to financial analysis. Analyze sales data. Again, that relates to being in finance and data, but is it true? If it's not true, you can't use it. This is giving you ways that you could talk about these things. If you didn't do them, you have to delete those. Overall, it's trying to connect this to the job that you want. A key skill in financial advising is customer service. So they're saying, hey, look, even though I've only worked at Subway, this connects to financial advising. That's what it's trying to do. And you're going to use this as say, this is a great idea. This isn't true, but I did do this. This is true. Now, where this is very powerful is doing these bullet points one by one. So let's say you see this and you're going, hey, that's not me. That's not really what I did. The idea is right. The language is wrong. So what you can do, you can take any individual bullet points that you've got and you can ask it to update them. So here's what we're going to do. So I ask it to give me 5 different ways to rewrite this bullet point. Delivered exceptional customer service. Now it's going to give you 5 options to choose from. So you could do this for every single bullet point. You can see what you like, what you don't like. Copy and paste this over into your main doc. Now, once you've got the information, you're going to need to use a standard format for your resume. Here's one that's really straightforward, easy to use. You're going to need to copy and paste into here. Now, if you do it directly from this, it's going to take this formatting. So I highly recommend that you take this and use a text editor. What that means is there's no formatting. So Microsoft Word is not a text editor, but this is. So when you paste it into here, all of your formatting goes away. Then if I go to copy and paste, analyze sales data, let's say I take that individual bullet point and I am going to throw this into the resume itself, it will come across in the proper formatting already here. If you don't, and you take the formatting from here, I'll show you what that looks like. Your resume is going to turn out, oops, wrong one. Your resume is going to turn out looking like this with lots of different rows. It's a different font, it's a different size, and everything's going to come out funky. And once you're at a good place, we're actually going to ask it now to analyze what it did for us and say, how can we make it better? And it's going to give you some really good feedback about what you can do. So in your objective section, it tells you what to do. Education, it reminds you if you've achieved any honors, awards, GPAs, include those. Experience, can you quantify what you've done? Make sure it's relevant to the job. Detail on financial projects if you're going for a financial internship. So it provides really good feedback for you here. Just asking, even though it created it, you're asking it to how to make this better. Great information about keywords and going for an application tracking system here, customizing it for each application, making sure your formatting is right. Now, the final step is you storing all this information because ChatGPT goes away, right? So when you're making these docs, you want to make sure you keep your facts about yourself. Maybe you have elevator pitches, but every time you apply for a job, you want to store the date, the name of the job, and everything that you've done in there. You probably want to store the job post just so you know what it was. When you create a cover letter, if you're doing your resume, you want to store that in here because this resume should be tailored to each of these jobs.